Leamons! Welcome back to another video of mine. So, in my cringy weird characters video about Emmy and Moon, I alluded to another character named Kiki. Kiki was another character of mine at the time that I drew and created stories about. One of those stories was called Rodent Royal. I made this story and its characters around 2019, and in this video, I'll be talking about the story, and its characters, and cringe reviewing it. I have a whole playlist dedicated to my cringe review videos if anyone is interested. Anyways, with this all said, let's get right into cringe reviewing my old story called Rodent Royal. This story all started from this drawing I made of Kiki and another character of mine named Lemmy. From this reference sheet, if I can even call it a ref sheet, we can get the idea of their two personality types. Kiki is happy, confident, loyal, and excitably wild, whatever that entails. Basically, she's a very bubbly character. And then Lemmy is honest, has a lot of anxiety, is kind, and quiet. So, he's basically an opposite of Kiki's character, which is funny because this isn't the only time I've had characters with opposite personalities, especially characters that are supposed to be love interests. Anyways, from these early concept drawings, we can see these two are both rodents and royalty of some kind, thus where the title Rodent Royal comes from. Of course, I didn't just draw Kiki and Lemmy, as there were more characters to come in this story. I drew a similar styled ref sheet from the last drawing of some other characters. The only two characters that I'd draw again after this was the witch character and Lemmy's younger brother, so the other two on the bottom are irrelevant. But I remember purposely making the witch and the ninja character to be other love interests for Kiki and Lemmy, to sort of cause tension between everyone. Also, there's supposed to be some sort of time travel stuff in this story. As to why I drew a time portal, it doesn't make any sense. I just love putting random time travel elements into my stories at the time. Also, here's a random drawing I made of Kiki and the witch character. From what I know, this witch mouse never even had a name. I just called her the witch character, probably because I'm bad at giving names to characters, but still, she deserved a name. And I don't know why I drew her like that, but it's really funny to look back on. So I made a few animations after this point, and for the sake of this video, we'll have to watch them. They are very, very cringy, so this will be a tough watch for me, but these are the things I must do for a YouTube video. So the first animation is an animation meme I made of my characters Kiki and Lemmy, called All Eyes on Me meme, and it's quite something, that's for sure. I'll show you guys the animation meme to see what I mean. I'm so embarrassed by this animation meme. Like, the animation is fine, I guess. I made it back in 2019 on Flip a Clip, and let's just say, it was a pretty good animation for me at the time. I was very proud of it. Although, the backgrounds are hideous, they look like I drew them in Flip a Clip, probably because I did draw these backgrounds in Flip a Clip. Horrible decision by past me. I should have drawn them in Procreate and then imported them into Flip a Clip, but I can't go back in time, unfortunately. What actually gives me cringe and pain from this animation meme is the story. It's so embarrassing for me to revisit. Basically, Kiki sees that the witch character is getting close to Lemmy, and she gets upset about it, as she also likes Lemmy. Her feelings take over and her amulet on her necklace turns purple. Then she becomes out of control, becomes a narcissist, takes over the kingdom, literally assaults Lemmy by pushing him against the wall. Poor Lemmy. Then, her amulet turns back to normal, and she cries and runs off screen as Lemmy looks at her with a concerned look. Reading this all out loud to myself just adds to how insane it is. What the actual heck was this story in this animation meme? Why is Kiki's thirst and jealousy for Lemmy making her amulet turn her into a narcissist that takes over the whole kingdom? I can't believe that in one point in time I made this animation meme and genuinely thought it was a great storytelling for these characters. Anyways, moving on from this horrible animation meme, we have a shorter animation I made for a part of an animation map. I have no idea what animation meme on YouTube this is now a part of. Like, I genuinely forgot. If anyone finds it, let me know, because it would be cool to see it in the animation map video. Anyways, how is this animation? Well, it's definitely a lot more tolerable than the last animation we witnessed, except for this one part where Kiki randomly moves across the screen at the speed of light. I don't know why I decided to animate her like this. It's very jarring to watch, especially because the vibe of this animation is more calming. The overall story is fine, nothing too embarrassing, probably because it's not a revolutionary story. Kiki doesn't want to have the responsibility of being a queen, thus leaves the kingdom and leaves Lemmy with a note. That's it. Nothing to write home about, but it also doesn't give me pain like the last animation. And at least the backgrounds in this animation look a bit better. The next animation was another part for an animation map, although after completing the sketch for this animation, the person hosting the project lost hope in the animation map and told everyone that it was cancelled, which sucked because I had already completed the sketch for this part, and it felt like a waste of my time. So that's why this next animation is only the sketch. So yeah, here's the animation, if you can even call it that. This was supposed to be about the time travel elements in Rodent Royal. Kiki and Lemmy are cornered by the witch character, and Lemmy's little brother jumps into the scene to save them by traveling through a time portal. And, like I said before, it makes zero sense to include time travel in this story. Also, why is the witch character evil now? Kiki and Lemmy seem genuinely afraid of her, so I assume she's a villain in this animation. From what I remember, she was always just supposed to be a secondary love interest to Lemmy, not a villain by any means. This whole animation is confusing to the story. Honestly, I'm sort of glad I never finished this. After these animations with nonsensical stories, past me likely realized that this story needed some work, because I created a somewhat different story for Rodent Royal. I got rid of the time travel elements, and good grief, because that did not need to be in the story. I also got rid of the witch character and Lemmy's little brother, because they didn't fit into the new story. Some aspects of Rodent Royal stayed the same, such as Kiki and Lemmy being the main characters and being love interests for each other, although I added some other main characters to the story too, and also changed up Kiki and Lemmy's character designs. Before I show all the new characters, I have a random story summary I found in my notes section on my iPad Pro. It's pretty short, but I thought I'd give it a quick read to better understand this new story for Rodent Royal. Rodent Royal is about a world of princesses and princes, and the 5 main characters all rival against one another to become the top Rodent Royal princess/prince in power. They are all different, but in the end all want the exact same thing, to be the Rodent Royal princess/prince at the top. Each one for different reasons, of course. This leads to dishonesty, hurting, love, deceiving, fear, and development in each of the characters. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit embarrassed to read that story summary out loud, although it is an improvement from the mess of the story beforehand. Like, at least this story actually has a bit of a clear direction. But anyways, with that out of the way, let's get into the 5 main characters of Rodent Royal. First off, let's start with Kiki's new design and character reference sheet. She pretty much looks the same as before, except now her tiara and necklace look a lot better. The tiara and necklace also have the added touch of having blue in the gems, which helps her stand out more as a character. Like, It's crazy to think that adding a pop of blue helped her design out this much, but that's just how important color is in character design. Also, her personality is pretty much the same, so I don't feel the need to talk about that here. Next, we have Lemmy's new character design and reference sheet. He also didn't change that much design-wise. The only real difference is the fact I gave him hair, and I honestly don't know if that ruins him or makes him look better. Let me know your opinion in the comments, because I can't tell if it was a good decision or not. I guess his crown looks a bit different too, but it's not that noticeable. Personality-wise, he changed a lot in this new character reference. He went from being a quiet, kind, nervous guy to being, well, not that at all. He's now deceiving to others around him. Having power is very important to him, which is why being the Rodent Royale King is his main goal. He's only nice to Kiki, which means he's probably rude to everyone else. And even the way I drew him just tells you all you need to know. He looks like he doesn't care about anything or anyone other than himself, with maybe the exception being Kiki. I don't necessarily think this change in personality is a bad thing, but it's definitely a major swap from his last character. Next is the reference sheet for a character called Bella. She's a sugar glider, which is not a rodent, so that's embarrassing on past me's part. Anyways, I love this character. Her design is good enough. It's a bit basic, but nothing terrible. I like the choice of blacks and whites and grays with a pop of light blue. Also, I don't know why, but I always gravitate towards the sassy, feminine, and rude characters, especially if they have potential to grow and become a better person, which is exactly Bella. She was written to be a bully, mainly to Kiki as Bella hates her. She's glamorous, smart, calculated, and talks fancy to those around her. She gives the impression that she's got it all figured out, but she has a lot of doubts deep down, and as time goes on, she becomes a better person. Or rodent. Or I guess not a rodent. A sugar glider, as I found out she's not a rodent. Next we have the reference sheet for a character called Minu. She's a bunny, which was another non-rodent. I have two characters that aren't even rodents. They shouldn't even qualify for Rodent Royale. But anyways, let's look past that slight problem. Her design is pretty simple. She's just a white bunny with different shades of pink. But I like it. I think she's cute. Minu is now the new, quiet, nervous, and kind character, essentially taking Lemmy's place for that role, except she's that, but doubled. She doesn't even want to participate in Rodent Royale, but her parents are forcing her to be there, for the slight chance that she could get the position of Rodent Royale Queen. Next we have a reference sheet for a character called Captain. I don't know why I named him Captain. All of these characters have pretty regular names, but he's just called Captain for some reason. Also, he's a beaver, which is a rodent, so at least one of these new characters I made back then counts as a rodent. Anyways, how is his character design? I mean, it's fine. He doesn't look awful, but he doesn't really stand out, and I think that's because of his color scheme. It's pretty plain looking. I could have made his bow tie a different color, and /or made his crown have another color. This character has an interesting personality though. He pretends to be a friendly, kind, fun guy, although he secretly doesn't care about those around him, and is manipulating everyone with his fake personality. Captain is quite honestly crazy, and probably unwell, but he's also very clever. He has a goal to become the Rodent Royale King, and he's going to do everything in his power to achieve it. He also hates Lemmy, because he knows Lemmy is capable of becoming the Rodent Royale. Now, with all the new characters out of the way, I have some animations I made for them, and they are pretty cringy. Unfortunately, this new and improved story of Rodent Royale doesn't save these upcoming animations. They are still very embarrassing to me. The first one is an animation I made of all the main characters I just showed, and please brace yourself for what's to come. So if you've seen my video on cringe reviewing my old animations, you might remember this one, because it's quite the animation, that's for sure. The funny part is, the actual animation is good. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's pretty good considering the time I made it. It's the story that gives me pain. Captain had some sort of edge on the competition for Rodent Royale. I don't know how or why, but he just did. That's why everyone is allowing him to be in charge. And for some reason, he's throwing himself onto Kiki and kissing her, and I feel bad for her, but like, she sort of got a taste of her own medicine, as she did the same thing to Lemmy in a different animation. Then Lemmy comes in with his sword and starts swinging it around to save them all, It's honestly so much cringe packed into one animation. Like, I cannot watch this without feeling some sort of pain. The next animation is of Kiki, Lemmy, and Bella. It's a very short animation, but I thought I'd still include it as it's relevant to the story. Like I said, the animation was very short. It's literally only 4 seconds of animation. The animation is bad. I mean, I guess the ears and tails flow nicely in the wind, but Lemmy pushing Bella out of the way looks hilariously bad. And for the story, what I can gather, Bella was literally trying to attack Kiki with her sword, only for Lemmy to push Bella aside. But that brings up so many questions, like, why was Bella trying to kill Kiki? Are they allowed to do that in the Rodent Royale competition? Why is Bella crying afterwards? And why does Lemmy look so guilty? All these questions just lead me to believe that I had no plan for this story. I likely got an idea, thought it was cool, and animated it, without really considering if it made sense in the story or not. And that's not just for this last animation, that's for all the animations I made for Rodent Royale. When you watch them all together, you realize this story is a mess. The story summary doesn't even make much sense either. Like, they're all trying to compete to become the Rodent Royale, which means the king or queen of the kingdom, but they all have crowns and tiaras, so are they not already princesses and princes? Or do they just have to wear those to compete? I never really answered that question. And how exactly are they competing? I think that's the biggest problem with this story. I never really knew how they were competing against each other. So when you see Captain taking over, it's confusing, because I don't even know how he was. What was making the other characters so afraid of him? Why was Lemmy charging into scene with his sword? And why was Bella trying to attack Kiki with her sword? Was killing allowed? Or was she going against the rules? Honestly, I don't have the answers to those questions, because I never did. I didn't write this story good enough to make sense. It was just something fun for me to animate and create characters for at the time. And I think that's okay. I was less experienced with writing stories and creating characters, but creating Rodent Royale was a lot of fun for me at the time. So, I don't regret it, even if a lot of the animations are cringe for me to look back on. I don't think stories have to make sense if you're just writing them for yourself. If you're new to drawing, animating, or writing, I encourage you to create a story of some kind, because there's something so exciting about creating a story. I only think writing matters if you're trying to put content out there in the world, as a form of a show, movie, comic, or book. Then I think you should put more care into the characters, writing, and the story. Anyways, that's it for my old story called Rodent Royale. After the last animation I showed, I dropped this story. I still would draw Kiki time to time, but not as her Rodent Royale character, and instead I draw her as a regular mouse character, which is where this disastrous drawing of Kiki originated from. If you haven't seen this drawing yet, I'm sorry for blasting your eyes without warning. If you remember this artwork from my cringe reviewing my drawings video, blame Rodent Royale for creating Kiki, which thus created this horrible drawing of her. That's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button. It's been Leamon, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys all next time.